Hi, welcome to my channel, TTM Successes from Abroad. I currently live about an hour outside of Amsterdam by train. I send autograph requests to baseball, basketball, football players, mostly retired, some current, but today it's all retired baseball players. My first success that I have to show you is Billy Mass. He took 32 days, sportscollector.net address. Next success is Carl Erskine. He took 42 days, sportscollectors.net address. He also returned the donation I sent him. He answered the question of, I know you get a lot of Jackie Robinson questions. Instead, I'm going to ask you about Jack Buck. What's your favorite Jack Buck story? He said, Jack and I finished a day game at Candlestick Park, and he wanted to take me to the Rickshaw restaurant in San Francisco. We looked and looked, but never found the rickshaw. We settled for Mexican. I wouldn't call it settling, but okay. My next success is from Chris Donnells, former Met, on a 92 Topps Gold. He took 42 days with a sportscollectors.net address. He also answered my question. I said, what's your favorite story from your time playing in New York that's not baseball related? He said, there's too many to list. The food, the people, the clubs, etc. He said it gets about 10 letters per week, 10 requests per week. My next success to share with you is from Jim Campanis, 42 days, SCN address. He also answered my questions. He said that he was heavily pressured to sign with the Mariners before the Olympics, so he was left off the team 3 weeks before the game, so he doesn't have a medal. As for the worst offense, Pete Rose's gambling or the Astros sign stealing, he said he didn't like the use of technology to steal the signs. If they were able to get a tip from the pitcher, that's okay, but not using high tech. He gets about 5 to 10 requests or letters per week. That's crazy. My next success to share with you was 42 days with an sportscollectors.net address and a $20 donation. I got Bill Mazeroski to sign both of my cards. Next success, 42 days with an SCN address, is Andy Bennis. He also answered my questions. He said that he still has his medal and he's very proud to have represented the USA. And he thinks the Astros is a worse offense because they used it to win the playoffs and they won a ring by cheating and cheated other teams out of a chance and they got money. How many letters does he get per week? He gets about 10 to 15 letters per week. My next one is 111 days with an SCN address. It's Tom Filer on an 86 Topps toward my 86 Topps set. Next one is Tom Reddington for my Wichita Wranglers. 29 days with an SCN address. I asked him to keep the doubles and triples of this card, but he signed them, all three of them, and mailed them back to me. And he signed this card. Next one, 29 days with a Harvey Meiselman miner's address is Renee Bryant. Signed all three cards, and he answered my question. I only asked him one question because I was hoping for an in-depth answer, which he gave me. I said, I see you still live in Wichita. What about it made you want to call it home? What do you do now for a living? He said, after finishing my baseball career, I realized that Wichita was a good place to raise a family with affordable housing and great family values. I then took a new career with the Wichita Police Department and have loved every minute of it. So he's a police officer in Wichita now. Glad that I didn't meet him within a second career. Anyway, my next success is Jim Poole, 42 days with an SCN address. He also answered my questions. He said he did not receive a medal from the Olympic team because he didn't make the roster. He was on the national team leading up to it. 3 amateur players couldn't be in the set, so he, Pat Combs, and Jim Campagnas were in the set as a result. He said that he thinks gambling, P. Rose's gambling, was the greater offense because players have been stealing signs since the game began. So it's considered a possibility or part of the game, rightly or wrongly. Gambling is taught from day one not to do it as a professional. He gets 10 to 15 more letters per week, and he gets more during COVID. My next success took 57 days with a sportscollectors.net address. It's Wes Stock from my Kansas City Athletics collection. He also sent me pictures that he signed, and he answered my questions. I asked him if he had any good Charlie Finley stories, and he said Charlie Finley was a new story every day. He can't come up with a favorite one, as every one was something else. And he liked playing in Kansas City. He said it was a good stadium to pitch in, and he enjoyed Kansas City. He gets between 7 and 8 letters a week. To me, that's a lot, as he was just a run-of-the-mill player. 2 more. The next one was a 42-day turnaround with an SCN address. It is Pat Combs. We heard about him in a previous letter. He signed it with his Bible verse, John 3:16, and Team USA. And he mailed me a Focus on the Family business card, along with his book, More Than the Score. He answered my questions in depth. He said he did not receive a medal, as he was listed as an alternate for the actual games. We all received rings from the USA Baseball. He said both offenses damaged the integrity of the game. He'll go with Pete's offense, as a potential appearance of him in a leadership role and affecting the outcomes of games is heretical. The Astros took sign stealing to a different level. Many teams have done it. He didn't like it, didn't like the sign stealing, but it's more common, and it's an unwritten rule, part of baseball for a long time. And he receives 10 to 12 requests per week. I'm guessing it's because a lot of people like to collect the USA Baseball. And the last one I want to share with you is with a 23-day turnaround, and an sportscollectors.net address is Tom Grieve. He didn't sign my card. I think he forgot, because he answered my questions and he said my letter arrived in rough shape, but he thinks the card is okay. If not, just send another one. So I think he forgot to sign it. He said, good luck with my Mets collection. He said the most influential person in his baseball career is Eddie Robinson. He scouted him with the A's, and the Rangers hired him into the front office. He said, who was his favorite baseball story from his time playing in New York? That is not baseball related. When he met Bobby Valentine with the Mets in 1978, they became best friends. He hired him to manage the Rangers. How many letters does he get per week? 15 to 20. Okay,